In terms of the border, securing the border, can you give President Trump any credit for securing the border? Because as you know, that was a big issue under the Biden administration when you had record border crossings, and those border crossings have gone down dramatically. Can you give him credit for that?
The border is secure. That's a good thing. It's happened on his watch. He wants to claim credit for it. Of course, he'll get credit for that. In terms of making sure that we actually deal with the issues that matter, including on immigration or beyond, there's a lot that is left to be desired. We believe in a safe, a strong, and a secure border. And that's important, and we'll continue to stand behind that. At the same period of time, we acknowledge, of course, we have a broken immigration system. It needs to be fixed, but it should be fixed in a comprehensive and in a bipartisan way. The American people strongly disagree with the approach that Donald Trump has taken in terms of interior enforcement and immigration.
Let's talk about Donald Trump. He's announced a pause on migration from third world countries following last week's devastating attack where an Afghan national who entered the US under the Biden administration as part of Biden's Operation Allies Welcome program during its disastrous withdrawal of Afghanistan. That person is accused of shooting 2 National Guard troops. Sadly, one has died. Now, it has raised fresh concerns about the vetting process under Biden, where tens of thousands of people from Afghanistan entered the US, and there are concerns that the vetting process was flawed. Can I get your thoughts around that?
Well, first of all, Gabriella, these people came from Afghanistan, and some of them were known to us, including this guy, this murderer, is somebody who actually did work with our troops. I would say more to the point, Joe Biden invited 10 million or more illegal aliens across the southern border. They were not vetted at all. We have no idea who those 10 million people were. And we think a number of them were terrorists, a number were drug dealers, and so on. So this whole business of unrestricted open borders, mass immigration has been a total disaster. And Donald Trump is absolutely correct to want to put the brakes on this third world immigration indefinitely, and I hope until the end of his term.
Well, let's have a look at more of this Trump statement, focusing on Minnesota and the mass migration of Somalians to that state. Here's what President Trump wrote. He said, hundreds of thousands of refugees from Somalia are completely taking over the once great state of Minnesota. Somalian gangs are roving the streets looking for prey as our wonderful people stay locked in their apartments and houses, hoping against hope that they will be left alone. The seriously retarded governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, does nothing either through fear, incompetence, or both, while the worst congresswoman in our country, Ilhan Omar, always wrapped in her swaddling hijab, and who probably came into the USA illegally in that you are not allowed to marry your brother, does nothing but hatefully complain about our country, its constitution, and how badly she is treated when her place of origin is a decadent, backward and crime-ridden nation, which is essentially not even a country for lack of government, military, police, schools. Even as we have progressed technologically, immigration policy has eroded those gains and living conditions for many. I will permanently pause migration from all third world countries to allow the US system to fully recover, terminate all of the millions of Biden's illegal admissions, including those signed by Sleepy Joe Biden's auto pen, and remove anyone who is not a net asset to the United States or is incapable of loving our country, end all federal benefits and subsidises to non-citizens of our country. Kosher, a lot there. All the focus has been on the assessment of Tim Walz being, and I quote, seriously retarded, but there are some major policy announcements in that statement, and they followed through with that.
Huge. And he sent that out on Thanksgiving Eve. Yeah. So it was this barn burner.
Happy Thanksgiving.
We're enjoying the weekend. Some of it, I would say, to his base was a bit surprising that it hasn't been done already. So, you know, when he said in there, we're going to cut benefits, these types of welfare benefits to illegals and non-citizens, a lot of people thought that had kind of been done from when he signed that flurry of executive orders on day one. But be that as it may, that is why he won in a landslide. He single-handedly changed the whole conversation around immigration when he came into the political arena in 2015. It is not being implemented fast enough. Maybe inherently it cannot be implemented fast enough because the wave of immigration is always 10 steps ahead of any policy, catch-up policy that you do on the back end, unless you go bold and really do something that would be considered radical, which is what he had in there, things like a moratorium for a generation, maybe. Why is it a given that every country has to take immigrants? Maybe GDP goes down. Maybe some of those metrics are not as important as other metrics. So that's the kind of stuff he's talking about in terms of cutting off funding for anybody who's not a citizen taking welfare benefits, taxing remittances when they're sending that money back to their own country. That's sort of like a flavor of the tariff thing that he's doing. And also, I think the last thing is, if you are found criminally liable for something, should immigration status be on the table? So not just that you go to jail or you have a fine, but visas being revoked. Denaturalization is something
that's
he's been throwing out there.
That's a big one. So if you've been naturalised and you are now a US citizen, that they could take that away if there is serious criminality.
But the courts will fight that, and we'll see where
that one's going to be a legal battle. Now, the attack on 2 National Guard members by an Afghan national, that has also seen the Trump administration take a very hardline stance on immigration issues and particularly vetting those entering the US. The Department of State has paused all US visas for those travelling on Afghan passports, and the US has announced all asylum decisions will be paused until they can ensure that every alien is vetted and screened to the maximum degree possible. Let's hear from President Trump.
How long does your administration plan to pause asylum into the US?
I think a long time.
Can you give any kind of time?
We don't want those people. We have enough problems. We don't want those people. You know why we don't want them? Because many of them are no good, and they shouldn't be in our country.
What do you mean by those people? Can you
The people from different countries that are not friendly to us, and countries that are out of control themselves. Countries like Somalia that have virtually no government, no military, no police. All they do is go around killing each other. Then they come into our country and tell us how to run our country. We don't want that.
It is just such a dramatically different approach to what we've seen in this country from both sides of politics, what we've seen in the UK. You could say Nigel Farage, who's leading in the polls, has got that Trump flavour now in what he says, but that is unashamed, bold. The Republicans must feel that they're on safe ground on this issue.
They are. Public polling has completely shifted, as we were saying, in favour of it. He is shifting the Overton window of what is acceptable discourse, what are the bounds of debating what the appropriate immigration policy is. So even if he doesn't land where he's saying, he's shifting the goalpost into that direction, and hopefully we get closer to it. Some would say, instead of banning all, quote, third world country immigrants, is ban everybody. Do a moratorium, because then you get out of this framing of, oh, you're being racist or you're attacking one country over another. Just ban it all and live with the consequences of GDP or skills gaps and all that.
He's not into that because he does want to bring in skilled migrants, and that there's been conflict within his base over that policy.
Like the Chinese students, he stuck up for them and paid a price for it politically. So you're right, he's not quite that bold, but he's definitely shifting the discussion.
Kosher Gaither, thanks for your time.
Pleasure.